House will now adjourn. I call the member for Warringah.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Australia's abundant natural resources provide an untapped opportunity to establish ourselves as leaders in the clean energy sector. But Australia is failing to rise to these opportunities as we now sit 52nd on the World Global Climate Change Performance Index, now sitting among the low-performing countries of the world, because this government's payment of fossil fuel subsidies continues and there is a continued approval of coal and gas projects. Not only that, on this drop of the index, Australia has been graded low in renewable energy as the government continues to expand exploration and extraction of gas, putting fuel on global warming. You cannot claim a gold star when it comes to saying you're going to act on climate change and continue extracting and expanding coal and gas. First Nations engagement in climate transition is where we can look to great opportunities. This is all despite our knowledge that the transition renewable energy presents an opportunity to empower our local communities to benefit of immense opportunities in climate transitions. First Nations communities have resource-rich lands and deep knowledge of country and culture. We know that Indigenous-led projects bring enormous opportunity to our regional and rural communities through driving improved health and wellbeing outcomes, providing much-needed investment in critical infrastructure and creating sustainable employment opportunities. But there are significant barriers and they remain. Access to capital is a major challenge. Many Indigenous communities, despite being asset-rich, are cash-poor due to over 200 years of systemic economic disempowerment. Without the necessary financial resources to begin project development, these communities are often excluded from meaningful participation in renewable energy industry and projects. So while the government has expressed public support for harnessing this opportunity, for traditional owners, words alone are insufficient and it is ultimately empty. What is needed is consistent, meaningful action to break down barriers, provide access to resources and ensure that Indigenous communities can lead and thrive in the transition. So what does this mean? The Aboriginal Clean Energy Partnership brings together MG Corporation, Balangara Aboriginal Corporation, Kimberley Land Council, Pollination in a groundbreaking collaboration. Together, they are pioneering a transformative approach to enhancing the self-determination and economic empowerment of Australia's traditional owners, particularly through the East Kimberley Clean Energy Project. This partnership represents an Australia-first model, a First Nations-owned and led initiative focused on developing a commercial-scale green hydrogen and ammonia project in Western Australia. Where are the headlines? Why isn't the government absolutely knocking down the door to support this kind of project? This partnership represents such a first, and it is a landmark project in several ways, being the first 100% green hydrogen and ammonia export venture in Australia and the first energy development to actively engage traditional owner groups as stakeholders in the project on their land. The project highlights the immense value and impact First Nations majority-owned partnerships. By implementing a co-design and co-creation approach, it showcases how clean energy projects on country can deliver significant benefits, not just for Indigenous communities, but the entire nation. So each stakeholder holds an equal 25% stake in the project, contributing complementary skills and strategic resources to its success. This initiative is more than a clean energy project. It's a pathway for First Nations people to generate capital, improve living standards and reinvest in further renewable energy opportunities. By empowering Indigenous communities as leaders in the energy transition, this project plays a pivotal and vital role in Australia's shift from fossil fuels to sustainable clean energy solutions, but empowering First Nations communities. For far too long, Indigenous Australians have been excluded from meaningful equity in traditional energy generation. This is a reality that must change, and a project like this is where you can start. While the Aboriginal Clean Energy Partnership has set a commendable example by actively engaging traditional owners, this approach must become the standard, not the exception.
Expired, and I call the member for